Thank you all for being here again today. Sorry about my voice for those who are hearing in the video. It should come back in a couple days. What we're going to talk about today is the gut, probiotics, and the dangers of alcohol and drugs. It's basically going to be focused around the gut, which is the enteric nervous system. Now I want to start out this talk by saying, and I should have said this in the last video too, our bodies have a particular design. Okay, we're built to function a certain way, and we're built to function with certain materials. And if we don't have those materials, we won't function as well. And if we replace those materials for other materials, they're not going to work as well as the original design. Okay, so with that in mind, this is what we're going to talk about. Now, this little cartoon here, got brains. I'm not trying to be insulting. Turns out science thinks that we've got two brains. We've got this one and we've got this one. This is your enteric nervous system. And your enteric nervous system is actually fairly independent from this part of your nervous system, your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system. So, you know, we think about our brain and how many neurons we've got coming out of there. Well, the brain, as it passes its neurons through here, this is the upper cervical region, and it goes down through our spinal cord. We've got millions of cells. Well, the gut has 100 million of its own cells, which is more than actually what's coming down through the spinal cord. The gut is also fairly independent, like I said. Most of the nerves, of course all the nerves are going back to the brain, but it does its functions here without permission from the brain, you could say. It's, like I said, it's independent. And most of the nerves that are coming to and from the brain, most of them are actually sending signals to the brain, giving the brain information, rather than the brain telling this what to do. All right? Now, what does our enteric nervous system do? What is its job? Its job is to break down food. Its job is to absorb nutrients and to eliminate waste. This whole system is about 30 foot long if we were to stretch it out from our mouth to the back end. All right? It happens to use all the very same neurotransmitters that are used in the brain, including one that we think of and we hear of quite often, serotonin. Has anybody heard of that one?
No.
It's a neurotransmitter. It's also a hormone. Serotonin is the happy hormone, right? We have the serotonin uptake inhibitors for people who are dealing with depression. We have many reasons to need serotonin. Well, do you know how much is made out of the brain, or how much actually is used through the brain? It's like 10%. I should say, I think it's 5%. It's 5%. 95% of our serotonin actually comes from our gut. That gives a new meaning to gut feeling, right? Gut feelings, you know, that feeling where you walk into a room and something's just not quite right. Or you're standing in front of a crowd of people and you start getting butterflies in your stomach. Well, I'm kind of playing right there with that terminology. But your guts actually tell you a lot of information. There's a lot that is happening there. In fact, if you don't have a happy gut, you're not going to be a very happy person. We need this to be functioning properly. So, that's one part. We were talking about the second brain right here. We're going to talk about the immune system. 70% of our immune system focuses right here. Why do you think that is? Anybody have any ideas? Silence today.
What we take in and what we take out.
All right, but the things that we're taking out, what are they? Waste.
Right.
And fairly toxic. So that's why 70% of our immune system has to be directed here, because we're carrying a lot of toxicity in our bodies here. Now, those white blood cells is typically what we'll see, and if you look under a microscope, you see the gut is full of white blood cells. Well, Why do you think, and I said, we got waste here, but we also have bacteria growing within us. And this bacteria, oftentimes we just think of bacteria as being something that is dangerous, that's going to bring us disease, that we need to watch out for. Bacteria is actually very healthy for us. I'll tell you, we actually have, this is going to get kind of graphic. When we use the bathroom, when we eliminate our waste, 50% of that mass is biomass from bacteria. 50%.
50% is what?
Biomass, so pieces or body parts of the bacteria. So dead bacteria, for example. So that's passing through us. 50%. So it's just half of what we eat is what we eliminate. The rest is what's already there. Now, I'll tell you about our bacterial cells. They outnumber us 10 to 1. What that means is the cells that make up our body, that's less than 10% of who we are. The rest of it's bacteria. And if we were to put all that bacteria together, it would add up to about a 5-pound can of soup. Isn't that lovely? This is what we carry around.
Creepy.
Right. We're basically a walking, talking skyscraper of bacteria.
That's like 2.5 pounds, 2.5 packages of 5-pound sugars.
Well,
That's heavy.
5 pounds. It's 5 pounds. So 5 pounds sugar. 5 pounds worth of soup. Bacteria. Now, this bacteria is very important for our immune system. You've got this growing inside of your digestive tract. And I'm talking all the way through, in your mouth, in your throat, all the way through. You know what else? We have good bacteria. We have bad bacteria. E. coli, people are afraid of E. coli. People are afraid of streptococcus, strep throat. Those things live within us all the time. We just don't have to think about it. If our bacterial balance, which, by the way, all this bacteria, we're going to call it I'm going to get this, microbiome. Microbiome. Let me write that down. Microbiome. So in order for us to have a healthy microbiome, we have to have a balance between the good and the bad. You can have E. coli, and you can have strep, and a myriad of other bacteria that normally people would be afraid of. They're living within us peaceably. No danger, as long as there's balance there. So how do we keep that balance? Well, first of all, what does our microbiome do? It helps us digest our food. You know what bacteria digests? It digests fiber. It digests other things too, but fiber is a big deal. It's one of the reasons why we need fiber. It's to keep our microbiome healthy and to help keep on moving that biomass and whatever we've eaten out. It also synthesizes vitamins. There are vitamins that we don't get from outside, we get from inside because the bacteria are making them. One is vitamin K. Another one is vitamin B12. Okay? So those are things that keep us healthy that we need. They're made by these bacteria. It balances our immune system, our microbiome, and detoxifies harmful compounds. Now, how do we get this in the first place? When we're born and we're coming out through the birth canal, here comes another graphic part. We take in, we actually swallow a bit of that, the material as we're going through the birth canal. And that's our first introduction. Before that, we're sterile. We have no bacteria. That gulp is the first time where we get these good bacteria, which we need. Then we also get it from mother's milk. Now, can you see how if we were to miss out on both of those things or one or the other, we could potentially have poor health? We're missing out on this stuff that's balancing our immune system, that's helping to digest our food, that's keeping us protected from harmful compounds and from harmful bacteria. What do you think happens to babies when they're born C-section? They miss it. They miss that first gulp. What about babies who are not breastfed? They miss it too. They're missing it. They're a couple notches back in their health. So those are things that are natural. That's the way we were designed. We were designed to be born through the birth canal. We were designed to have mother's milk, not cow's milk. That's for a cow. Mother's milk, and that will give us the proper microbiome that we need. Now after that, we get it from a funny place. We get it from dirt. Now that sounds kind of crazy, but do you remember eating dirt as a child? Does anybody remember that?
No.
I see some people saying yes, and I see other people saying no way. Okay, now there are some people, and there's a phenomenon when women are pregnant. They will sometimes have cravings for things that are not food. It's called pica or pica. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, they'll want ice. Ice. Also, sometimes they'll have a desire for dirt. Now, that may be because they're not having the right minerals and vitamins and they're trying to get it from the dirt. Maybe that's it, minerals. I think it has more to do with the fact that they might have a lack of the proper microbiome, and that's what they're looking for. Now, I can't say that for sure. That's my theory, all right? So they might be getting ready for that baby to be born. They know they need some more bacteria that they're missing. Going forward, there are certain foods that we eat that have this good bacteria, all right? So Miss Eva brought us an example. There's a tea, it's called kombucha. Now kombucha is made of fermenting. All right.
2 different brands.
Kombucha, yes. Now I'm not selling this stuff. It's a fermented mushroom, I believe, and they put other things in there as well. But it grows bacteria, and this bacteria actually is helpful for us. Now you can get it from sauerkraut. Anybody like sauerkraut?
Oh, yeah.
Some people do.
Absolutely.
I like fermented grape juice.
Okay, we'll get there. Pickles also, because of the fermentation, will have good bacteria.
Somebody told me this guy had joint pain. He was a little overweight. And he said his doctor told him to drink, it has to be dill pickle juice. And he said, it was unbelievable. I did that and I didn't have joint pain.
Okay, so she was just explaining how she knows somebody, you knew somebody?
I heard this at the Rush Fitness Center. This
Okay.
guy was talking about it.
There was a gentleman who had joint pain, and he was told to drink dill pickle juice.
Ah.
His joint pain was helped by
It
that.
doesn't mean you don't have to drink a lot.
Right. No, it doesn't take much. Well, I don't know this story. I don't know the details, but I can tell you there's good bacteria in pickle juice. So there's also vinegar. And vinegar can be trouble. And we're going to talk about that. Vinegar can irritate your nervous system. Remember this? This is your nervous system. It's your second brain. You irritate that, guess who's not happy? He's not happy, we're not happy, nobody's happy. So you got to be careful with vinegar. But, pickle juice. All right, pickles. Spirulina, chlorella. Are we talking about sauerkraut? Chlorella, thank you. Kefir. Anybody heard of kefir?
Oh, yeah.
It's a yogurt. It's a
drinkable
liquid yogurt, right? Drinkable yogurt. And it's bubbly. It bubbles because it's actively fermenting. So that has a lot of good bacteria in it. You can find it in acidophilus milk. Milk has been fortified with acidophilus. Now, I'll tell you, I don't like milk because milk was made for cows. It wasn't made for us. And milk can increase your mucus production. We talked about this last time. It'll also increase your allergies, makes you susceptible to cancer, according to new studies. So, try to stay away from milk.
So
All right.
What was the 3 things? Allergies,
Allergies, cancer, autoimmune, mucus production, increased mucus production.
So you're you're saying it causes you to have autoimmune disease.
It can lead to autoimmune diseases, yes. And that is a result of a damaged I'm sorry, I keep saying it wrong, microbiome. So what happens is, if you damage your microbiome, this good bacteria, you're going to start having things leaking through that shouldn't leak through. And we talked about this a little bit last time too. A question?
What about whey protein and the byproducts of making cheese? Is that rich in bacteria?
It's rich in casein. Whey is another milk protein. Casein is one that is more dangerous. No, in terms of your bacteria or your good bacteria, maybe they put something in there. Maybe they put probiotics in there. I don't know. But probiotics we're going to talk about more probiotics in just a second. I'm going to go on to when we have a damaged microbiome, it leads to intestinal permeability, which is also known as leaky gut. Okay, so what that does is it allows things to pass through to the bloodstream that shouldn't be able to, whether that be bacteria, whether that be proteins like we were talking about from milk last time that can get in and create autoimmune effects. It's going to decrease your immune system. It's going to harm your immune system. It can also lead to confusion and memory loss, brain fog, and emotional stability. Remember, this is your second brain.
Okay, so say this again. What can do this?
When you have a damaged microbiome, so you have hurt your good bacteria, you're going to have intestinal permeability potentially. Now, it'll also lead to weight gain. Remember how your bacteria digests food for you? Well, it's taking part of that energy. If that's now getting through to only you, you're going to absorb more of those calories, which means weight gain. I don't think that's the biggest thing we have to be concerned about, but it can also lead to irritable bowel syndrome. You've heard of that? Sometimes you got to go, sometimes you can't. Kind of. It's awful for those who suffer with it. It can lead to allergies and asthma. All right, so what happens? Now this is our segue. We talked a little bit about probiotics. I'm going to talk more about that. We're going to start talking about the dangers of drugs and alcohol as they relate to our enteric nervous system. All right? So, how do we damage our microbiome? How's that happening in the first place? Well, how's that leading to intestinal permeability? Well, if you look over here at my nice illustrations here, one of the worst things for our gut is antibiotics. Okay? Antibiotics go in and they kill off bacteria. Well, it's not very smart. It kills off any bacteria, good or bad. So if you're killing off this good bacteria, and albeit the bad stuff, you're now weakening your immune system for the next time. And then you're going to need another set of antibiotics. And then you're going to take even more of your good bacteria away, which will make you need another set of antibiotics. It becomes this vicious cycle. And the antibiotics have to be stronger and stronger because the bugs get stronger and stronger. We're creating our own superbugs. Yeah. So antibiotics are real trouble. They're a miracle of medicine. They've helped a lot of people. But what sometimes, and most of the time, doctors forget to tell you, if they know, is that you need to have good bacteria put back into your system after you've gone through a round of antibiotics. And those are probiotics. I'm going to talk about that again. Like I said, we're going to talk about that more in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about some other things that damage your microbiome. Alcohol, caffeine, parasites, enzyme deficiencies, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Those are over-the-counter painkillers. Corticosteroids. Those are steroidal anti-inflammatories. Those you have to get with the medication. Those are very hard on you. Refined carbohydrates. White flour, white sugar. We talked about this last time. That shouldn't be in our food. It's not really food. That's going to damage our good bacteria. All right. prescription hormones, mold, fungus, chemotherapy, radiation, and finally, stress. And that's a hard one. Stress just seems to affect us all the way around. Stress will decrease, actually what it does is it depresses the good bacteria, and it will allow for overgrowth of the bad bacteria. And now there's no balance, and that's when we'll get ill from that. So, this is how we damage it. Now, I'm going to take a minute to talk about alcohol and its damage. More so than just creating damage to our immune system because it's hurting our good bacteria. I'm going to give you a list of things that this is light alcohol consumption. So we're talking about one drink a week. And that's a glass of wine or a beer or an ounce and a half of some sort of whiskey. High blood pressure, stroke,
So you're saying this is what it can do?
alcohol. High blood
One
pressure,
drink a week.
stroke, heart problems, elevated triglycerides, impaired sexual function.
You're going too fast.
I'll give you a list afterwards.
It's okay.
Decreased blood sugar, vitamin and mineral deficiency, chronic fatigue, ketoacidosis, osteoporosis, gout, rhabdomyolysis. Rhabdomyolysis, welcome. Rhabdomyolysis means your muscles start to get eaten away. They start to break down. Okay, it's destructive to your muscles. Rhabdomyolysis. It gives us trouble with controlling our body weight. Anemia. Decreased platelets. Your platelets are in your bloodstream. They help you clot when you have a cut, when you have some sort of an injury. And it increases menstrual cramps. Now, that's light. As you go further and further and have more and more, it increases these problems. So this is a list. Now, if you could, I'm going to tell you from a general perspective. I have caffeine on here too. Remember, this hurts the microbiome. All of these things that these little drawings are representing, these are things that we say, you know what's the big deal? I like my coffee. I like a glass of wine in the evening. I need my antibiotics when I get a cold. By the way, a cold is a virus. Antibiotics do nothing for virus. They'll actually weaken your immune system for the next one. So, the thing about all of these are, they make us dependent. All of these things are poisons, and all of them are addictive because they make us dependent to them. So, we think, well, I want my freedom. I want to be able to have what I want every once in a while, or maybe more than once in a while. But what we don't realize is this is actually trapping us. This traps us more than gives us freedom. So I'm going to tell you from a general perspective, from my perspective, you need to stay away from everything that's poison and have moderation. You've heard of moderation in, what's that old adage? Moderation in all things. Have you heard that before?
Including moderation.
Moderation in moderation. Moderation in all things. That's an old adage. It's not true. It's moderation in the good things. You don't want to have moderation in rat poisoning. You don't want to have moderation in a few cuts a day, right? Moderation in the good stuff. I encourage you to try and leave this stuff behind. And the best way is kind of just get rid of it. Now, when we're talking about prescription medications, there's the absolute need for that at times. It's an emergency protocol. You need this stuff. You have gotten your body to a point where it's not able to get to heal on its own, essentially. You're getting help. But it should not last forever. If it's something that you cannot get off of, you're becoming dependent on it, right? It's trapping you. Medications have never cured a disease, I'll tell you that. Only your body can do that. You've got the best pharmacy, the best doctor within you. It's a self-healing mechanism. That's the way it was designed. So, I think I've been on my soapbox long enough. Anybody have any questions about what I've talked about so far?
I've got a comment.
Yes.
Sugar is also a toxin.
Sugar is also
Very
addictive.
dangerous.
You're right.
Sugar is what?
Sugar is also a toxin, and it's very dangerous.
Sugar is a toxin.
Sugar.
It's addictive. It's one of those
Yeah, it's
things
addictive.
that it makes us dependent.
Yeah.
So when we have, there's good sugars, like in fruit. You can have sugar in honey. You can have sugar in, it even comes out of birch bark, believe it or not. But,
Maple syrup.
you're right, maple syrup as well. So those things you still need to have in moderation, because simple sugars are kind of like, they're kind of like a drug for us. But when it gets refined, it's even more like a drug. And it acts like a drug. And it harms us. So,
It's toxic.
Can I ask a question? You said,
Please.
of course, I'm late.
well, I'm happy you're here. Ask away.
But your diagram says coffee and a glass of
Wine.
wine, and then
That's a
water?
beer.
Are you saying water?
No, this is a beer. My drawing's
that's
not
a
that
beer.
good.
Oh.
Water is very good for you. Water is very important. It's something we need. Yes.
Something that's a huge trend is the whole energy drink market. Red Bull, Monster drinks, 5 Hour Energy. Some of them that even advertise caffeine free, but they're using lots of natural stimulants. How does that affect the microbiome, and what's your opinion on that?
Microbiome, like I said, caffeine damages it. So it's going to make your immune system weaken. All the things that the microbiome does for us, it's not going to be able to do. Now, those energy drinks don't give you energy. They irritate you. So people think, I'm getting my cup of coffee to get me up and going in the morning. Well, really, it's just getting you agitated. And so that's irritating your nervous system. It's a false sense of energy, and it's going to burn you out in the end, because it's going to deplete your suprarenal glands or your adrenal glands. It puts you in a stress state. Excuse me, a stress state. And that you can't stay there very long without it wearing you out. So these people become dependent on those energy drinks.
The world news said that there's people showing up in the emergency rooms after these.
There are several people who have
Have you heard
died.
that?
There's several
Heard it
people who
on
have
the
died from
news.
the energy drinks. Yes.
Especially young
What, I don't
children.
know what it's
Yes.
doing.
Young teenagers.
Well, people
What it's
drink
doing.
so much of it that they're having cardiac arrest. It gets their heart beating so fast.
And it's either got sugar in it, or it has sugar substitute, and both.
Yeah, those are dangerous.
bad.
The caffeine's dangerous. Some of the stimulants, the other stimulants that they're putting in
Yeah.
are dangerous. And they'll it's got lots of vitamin B's. Then the B's will give you energy, and they'll ginseng. That's good for you. But they're packaging it with a lot of stuff that's
Yeah.
really damaging.
That's what it
Yes,
is.
sir.
Do you distinguish between caffeine and tea and coffee?
No.
You know.
No. There are good things in green tea. There are antioxidants. They're good things, but they come with bad. And this is why I say you want to stay away from the bad entirely if you can. There are good things you can get. You can get very good antioxidants without the tea. You can get it from fruit. That's one of the best sources, actually, especially berries. You can get it from grape juice. By the way, all this talk about wine being good for your heart, being good for your health, the exact same qualities that wine has that makes it good for you is in grape juice. The alcohol adds nothing to benefit. It only harms you. Okay? Any other questions? These are good ones. Okay. Yes.
What about decaf tea?
Right.
Is that
Decaf
okay?
tea, decaf coffee is not really decaffeinated. If it had caffeine in it to begin with, then you want to stay away from it. It will still have caffeine in
They
it.
claim it's 97%.
Whatever it is. The coffee, for example. Coffee's not only bad for you just because of the caffeine. There's also rancid oils in the roasting process that irritate your nervous system. And I like to talk about the nervous system because it does control everything, and that's the part of your body as a chiropractor that I want to see working to its best. So I I want your nervous system working properly so the rest of your body works properly. So I stay away from decaf. There are coffee substitutes, cereal coffees. There are teas that have never been caffeinated because they're herbal teas. So those things are better choices. Substitutes as you're making your changes. Yes?
And even last week when you taught dairy and cheese and things like that can damage your intestinal tract, my understanding that your intestinal tract actually can develop holes, or somehow it passes through your intestinal tract into your body. That's what these type of substances will physically damage your intestines.
Here's the progression. You have antibiotics. It kills off the good bacteria with the bad bacteria. Now you've got kind of like gaps within your intestines that are allowing for things to pass through. When we talked about milk, you drink the milk and you have these proteins in the milk that look a lot like the proteins within our body. If they're allowed to slip past into the bloodstream without getting processed, then that is going to create an antibody. Your body looks at that protein, thinks it's a foreign invader, learns how to fight it, and then it sees other cells within your body that look very similar and learns how to fight them. And that's where it leads to autoimmune disease. So that's why milk is dangerous. One of the reasons. That's a good way to review it. Yes?
Caffeine.
Yes.
What is the process of decay, let's say,
If you take in
drink
caffeine,
caffeine?
how is it broken down?
Yes.
That's a really good question that I cannot answer for you. I'm sorry, I do not have I don't know the mechanism for breaking it down.
But what is it doing?
What is it doing to you?
Yes.
When caffeine gets inside of your body, what it does is it creates an irritation. Now, I'm going to talk in general terms because I'm not.
Yes, right.
It'll irritate your nervous system. It puts you in a stress response. And when you're stressed, then your body starts producing different hormones. One would be adrenaline or epinephrine, norepinephrine. These different hormones that are actually going to, well, it gets you ready. They can be good if you got a tiger jumping out of the bushes at you and you're ready to either take off or fend for yourself. You need that stress response. It pulls blood away from your organs, puts them into your muscles. You get ready. Your pupils dilate. You get ready to fight or run away. You're ready. But if you're acting like that all the time, the blood is shunted from your digestive system, and that will harm your digestive system because you're not digesting, and the food that was in there is now putrefying and poisoning you. And you're also losing energy by being like this all the time, being ready to fight. You're expelling a lot of energy that way. It weakens you, and then you start producing the epinephrine or the adrenaline constantly because you're constantly in this state of stress, and it leads to what is known as adrenal fatigue.
So that's really the nervous system.
Yes.
And now, if you allow the digestion process to take place, does it affect your liver function? Does it affect your kidney function or anything like that?
That's a really good question. I'm going to say yes. It's going to affect everything in your body because as soon as it affects your nervous system, it's going to start affecting everything that's attached to your nervous system, which is everything in your body. So I know that's kind of beating around the bush. Your question is very good. I don't have a good enough answer for you. In terms of, is the caffeine itself damaging your liver? Potentially if you overdo it. It's just like alcohol. Alcohol is going to damage your liver because your liver is a filtering system. It's filtering out toxins. So it has to process those things so that they don't hurt you.
The reason I'm asking all these questions is because I'm very big on drinking green tea.
Right.
So
I know most people love the green tea because it has those healing properties. It has good, healthful properties. But because of the caffeine in it, it's like the idea of drinking wine. Wine has red wine has very healthful qualities, but the alcohol doesn't. And the benefits do not outweigh the detriments. So if you can get those same benefits from something else, that would be my advice for you. Okay. I told you we were going to talk about probiotics. So we talked about how we can damage our microbiome and our enteric nervous system, our gut. So let's talk about how we can heal it. We talked about foods that will reconstitute those good bacteria: sauerkraut, the kombucha, the what is it? Pickle juice, right? We talked about various things. The kefir, right? Those things will help to build back your good bacteria. However, it's slow. When you have a antibiotic, that's fast. It kills off so much of your immune system. And then you're going to slowly put it back with yogurt and some pickle juice, whatever. You need something that's going to give you a kind of a jump start. And that's where probiotics come in. Now probiotics, there are basically two classes of probiotics. Probiotics are bacteria. That's what it is. Bacteria in a capsule. Okay? They come in different packages. So sometimes they come in a liquid. Sometimes they come refrigerated. Sometimes you don't need to refrigerate them. Sometimes they have a coating that protects them from the stomach acids. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're billions and billions and billions. Sometimes they're less. What I'm going to tell you is that basically the two classes are, you've got milk-based, so those bacteria are grown in milk, and then you've got soil-based, which means they're grown in dirt. All right. So
What was the second one?
dirt, soil-based.
Soil-based probiotics.
Yes. So this is my understanding, so I'm going to give you the best knowledge I can give you. The milk-based probiotics will last about 3 to 4 months, and then they'll pass through. And that's fine. Do that. It's better than not doing it if you've just had antibiotics. And that's going to help you reconstitute those good bacteria in your digestive system. But if you can have something that's more permanent, that's what I would recommend. I don't want people to be stuck on whatever pill it is. I'd rather you be able to get things from your nutrition. So the soil-based, theoretically, they repopulate those good bacteria, and that stays. So until you have another round of antibiotics, or you have a party. So
I've
So
got
the
one
soil-based
comment,
ones
and you may have said it already. When you go to a doctor with an infection and they give you an antibiotic, most often they do not tell you that you need to have probiotics.
most times when I bring this up to patients, I ask them, especially when they have allergies or they'll have some sort of intestinal issue, I'll say, have you ever had antibiotics? Or have you had antibiotics? No, never in your life. Because if you've ever had it in your life, you've severely damaged those good bacteria. You need something to help repopulate it.
Yeah.
People have never heard of probiotics. Most of the time. Most of the time.
And
Most of them are
the other thing is that you must not take the probiotics and the antibiotic at the same time, because antibiotic will kill the probiotic,
It's essentially useless.
and that's also not mentioned.
You might as well finish your antibiotic round and then start with the probiotics. Now I was going to talk about soil-based. Soil-based doesn't need to be refrigerated. It's just growing on dirt, and it's like I said, it's supposed to be permanent. It's as permanent as you staying away from this stuff and staying away from stress and the other things that we talked about that will damage. So I'm going to give you 2 brands, and I don't sell either one of these, but I wanted you to know where you can have access. One is called Prescript Assist. The other one is called Primal Defense.
Is that the one you do?
And there may be more. These are the ones I know about.
And
Um,
they come in pill form?
these come in capsules, yes. And
Prescript assist.
yeah,
These are soil.
you can look these up on the internet. This one I know you can find over at Earth Fair. Earth Fair here in Knoxville or Turkey Creek. I don't know if, I don't know where you can find this except on the internet. So I prefer, actually, either one. Yes.
Do you have links to these on your website for people that need to find that? Or is that something you can put on your website? If so, maybe you can tell us what that is?
I would like to do that.
What is your website address for those that may not have it?
My website is, well, I'm going to give you my website, www.healthbydesign.com. Nope, sorry. OROR for oakridge.com. I hope that's legible.
Very good, thank you.
All right.
Defense is normally an SE, so this is a C.
Thank you.
So,
I'm sure it is. That was probably not.
Maybe it's a C in Canada, you know?
Maybe. Thanks. Okay.
And
So-
health has an H in it. Health by design.
Thank you.
so some of those are caps.
You
It
don't
doesn't
have to
matter.
put caps. Okay. So these are going to help you reconstitute those good bacteria, which is going to help you with your immune system. It's going to help you with your digestive system. It's going to help you with your weight. Well, I mean, what are the things that we talked about? This is going to help your overall health. It's going to help you with your nervous system. It's going to help your mood. Potentially. If you have ever had antibiotics, you need to have a probiotic. If it's not one of these, anyone, it's going to help you improve your immune system. You need to also try and put some of those foods into your diet so that you can maintain those good bacteria. So we talked about the chlorella, and the spirulina, and the kombucha, and sauerkraut. So those things are going to help you stay healthier. You don't need a lot of it, but you need it. And you know what else you need? People sometimes who have heard of probiotics have not heard of prebiotics. Prebiotics are what probiotics eat. So it keeps them healthy. You know what that is? It's fiber. You know where we get the most fiber? Does anybody remember from our last class? Which food group has the most fiber?
Fruit.
Plant.
Fruit. Yeah, plants. Fruit is the highest among the plants. So it's got soluble and insoluble fiber. And we need both. You can also get it inside of a supplement format. It's going to be fiber. So do as you wish. I like people to eat their medicine. I like people to be healthy from the basics and not have to take a pill or think about something extra that they have to do. All right. Now, I think I've covered our topic tonight. Are there any more questions?
Enzymes, you haven't talked specifically about.
I haven't talked about enzymes. And what are we talking about? Are you meaning the kombucha and how it has enzymes in there?
No, it's something that helps us digest
Oh,
food.
that's true. I didn't talk about digestive enzymes. That wasn't on the topic for today,
Sorry.
but I can talk about it just for a second, for Eva's sake. Digestive enzymes, if people are having trouble digesting their food, if they have trouble, let's say, for example, you're trying to get more fiber in your diet, so you're eating more beans. Beans have a lot of fiber. And then you start having gas. Well, you can get help with that with some digestive enzymes. You have an enzyme for every type of food that you eat. Enzymes that break down protein are called protease. Enzymes that break down fat are called lipase, and so on and so on. So you'll find even lactase, which breaks down milk. I still don't want you drinking milk. That'll be in those enzymes when you get digestive enzymes from like a natural food store or from the health food section of a supermarket.
Yeah, and another thing about them, if I can mention that, is that they also come in food, but because of the food having been pesticized and killed in so many ways, lots of food simply doesn't have it anymore.
That's true. Let me re-say that. The enzymes to digest food are oftentimes in the food itself. When an apple is ripening on the tree, just before it gets ripe, it creates its enzymes to help break itself down when you eat it. But apples aren't picked ripe. They're picked green, and then they're sprayed with something, and then they're sent across the country, and then you get them in the supermarket, and they look beautiful, but they don't have the enzymes. So it's true, the best way to get your food is fresh and in season, and from someplace local. I mean, that's kind of getting a little bit back to last week's topic, but we didn't talk about that, so that's great. Yes?
Are there natural foods for pre-script assist?
Yeah! Natural foods for this stuff?
Yes.
Dirt.
Dirt. Good.
Dirt, isn't that silly? Now,
Well, we're made of dust, God said.
I'm not saying go out and eat dirt,
I
but
tried it once.
when we plant our own food and we pick our own food and we eat our own vegetables, let's say it's lettuce, a lot of times there'll be a little bit of dirt left in there even after we rinse it off. And that can be a good way that we get B12, maybe a good way for us to get probiotics. We don't live that way anymore. We should, but we don't.
So are you saying that you have pills or whatever that will help you to get these or something? What?
These two are brand names of probiotics that are soil-based. So if you were to open up the caplets, there'd be dirt inside.
Oh,
Do you know how much that is for the primal defense?
No, I think it's close to $50. Both of them are close to $50.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
they go a long way.
For
They
that
last.
lasts about a month, and that's about all you need.
pills.
It's either 30 or 60.
Oh, yes,
And
more than that.
the idea is when you get a probiotic, you take it according to the recommendations if your stomach allows. Sometimes people have a reaction and you might need to take a little less. Take it until it's gone. When it's gone, make sure you're supplementing with the good foods that have, once in a while, that have those good probiotics in them already.
So
And you
this is
should,
just a one-time thing?
unless you have more antibiotics, or you go on a binge drink, or you,
If you have ruined your stomach.
yeah. Yes.
For folks that are watching your video series later, if they want to reach you, how do they reach you by phone, or where are you located at, and who do they ask for?
Okay. I'm going to put my information here. My name is Dr. Caleb Runne. And this is our address. I'm going to write it down. I think it'd be better. 681A, Emory Valley Rd. And we are in Oak Ridge. That's Tennessee. All right. And you can reach us. Our telephone number is 865-425. That is a 4. 9716.
And the area code for Oak Ridge is 37830.
Thank you. 37830 for the zip code of Oak Ridge if you need it. So, next week we're going to be talking about trigger point therapy. Now, trigger point therapy is a manual therapy that helps with pain. I'm going to teach you how to do that on your own, so that you can actually get over pain at home by yourself. And we'll do a workshop sort of a setup. It's not going to be like this. We're actually going to be working on each other. Okay? So I hope you can come next week. Do I have any more questions about? Yes.
Why does alcohol give people a headache after they drink?
Why does alcohol give people a headache after they drink? It doesn't do that to everybody. But it has to do with the breakdown, and this is one explanation. It has to do with the breakdown of alcohol. Sometimes you can't completely break it down. And that's about all I'm going to say about it, because I know there's more complex physiology to that. And I'm not prepared, and I don't want to, on video, say something erroneous.
Dehydrates you too.
Say that again?
It dehydrates you too.
It does dehydrate you. That's a big reason as well. Yeah, and get rid of your B vitamins. That's another reason. All right.
Well, the question I had, and I read a little bit on your website about you and why you're here, and you know, obviously this is very important to you. It's a passion that you have. But you know, in 60 seconds or less, tell us your story. How you were introduced to chiropractic, why you're here, and what it means to you.
Well, I grew up in the household of a chiropractor. My father's a chiropractor. I was born at home with my father and mother there alone. They did that on purpose. And all my siblings were born that way. I've never been vaccinated. I've not ever had any antibiotics. I'm a vegetarian. Now, I'm not saying that these are all things that are, you know, because if you didn't do it that way, you're wrong or you're not as good. But I'm just saying, these are things that I grew up with, and it was normal for me. There are a lot of things about health that I just knew growing up. It didn't seem like I'm kind of mixing here. So I grew up that way, and I realized how important it was later in life. And I decided, you know what, I want that for my family. I want to be able to teach my family about natural things. I want to be able to take care of my family without having to send them for antibiotics all the time, or have them have health problems that other folks have, like ear infections, for example, that can be easily dealt with natural things. I want to be able to provide that for my family. So I decided to become a chiropractor as well. Now, I realized, like I said, that this was different. Most people don't have this information. And that's why I teach these classes. That's why they're free. Because I want everyone to have that same knowledge. Because it's a base, it's a foundation. If you can have that foundation, you have knowledge, and you know when things are healthy and when things are not. You know how to distinguish the difference. Hopefully. That's hopefully what I'm imparting here. I'll tell you, as a chiropractor, when you have your digestive system irritated, the same nerves that are coming to your digestive system, they come from your lower back.
Sorry, I have to leave.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you later.
Now, the same nerves that are coming out here will go to your digestive organs. So if this is irritated, it's going to irritate your back. If your back is irritated, it's going to irritate your intestines. This is true through all the organs because of the way the nervous system works. Now, incidentally, there's a nerve, it's one nerve called the vagus nerve, and that is what mostly sends signals back to the brain, and that happens to pass through here at the top of her neck. So this is a very important and vital area of our spine, and that's another area that I've studied extensively on. So if I can be of help in that way, that's what I'm here for, in addition to teaching about natural health. Yes?
When you have a real bad cold,
Yes.
and I'm talking about a bacterial
Cold.
infection.
Okay, bacterial infection is different than a cold. But yes, go ahead.
So now, one way is to take antibiotics.
Right.
Now, the other way is a natural way that you might propose. What is that proposal?
Antibiotics are for emergency cases. I'm not saying that antibiotics are necessarily a bad thing. They're overused, and we're having problems making worse bacteria because they're improperly used. But they're very useful when someone's having a very bad infection. Those things can be life-threatening. Antibiotic work quickly, and that's great. Thank goodness that those were found, invented, and that we have access to them. But if you can strengthen your immune system, you're not as susceptible to bacterial infections. And that's kind of the basis we're talking about here. Building up your health naturally so that you don't have these really bad bacterial infections.
So your, let's say, solution to the problem is a long-term
Absolutely.
thing that continues to improve your immune system. But then what happens is sooner or later your immune system does break down, and let's say you get a bacterial infection that's very serious.
Take an antibiotic,
Okay.
and then take a probiotic,
Oh,
and build your immune system back. We're human. We're susceptible to disease. We are. Even just not getting a good enough night's sleep, you're more susceptible to disease. Having a soda, you're more susceptible to disease. So we typically do this stuff to ourselves. But there are things that are out of our control. You do what you can with what you can control. And then when the time is necessary, that may be antibiotics. And then you need to build your system back up, or else it's going to weaken it. Okay? So I'm not saying that modern medicine is bad. I'm just saying we need to work on our own health. Our health is our own responsibility. We can't expect a pill or another person to make us healthy. It's not going to happen. We've got to do that for ourselves. But you got to know how first. That's what we're trying to do. I'm going to answer more questions. We're going to close up right now. For those of you who have not been here before, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to give you a gift. I hope it's going to be valuable for you. For those of you who've been here before, I'd like you to sign in too, because you're going to get a gift as well. So please, everybody sign in. Make sure not to leave before doing that. And I'm going to have you look up here again. If you like these free videos, this series, you can send your name and email to this phone number up here. It's 865-465-2248.
So the only way to get it is to text it?
To text your name, no, you can get on my website too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we want to review, we've listened to it, and they say, okay, now what did he say we can review?
You can. It'll be on video. It's immortalized. So all the errors that I made on my spelling here, everyone's gonna know that forever.
You've got an editing machine.
I don't think I can edit. Well, maybe. All right, y'all. Thank you for being here.